Right, we've got our hands on Ellie Salthouse's Trek Concept Speed time trial bike with this unique custom paintwork. Okay, let's move to the front of the bike, and Trek work closely with Bontrager. So this whole cockpit area is Bontrager. These base bars are the Speed Concept Aero base bars. They're very flat and wide. And on the end of these, she's got her shifters. And then on top of that is the Speed Concept Mono Aero bar. So it's actually joined in the middle here, meaning you can't adjust the bars separately. So you have to decide what type of bar you're going with, and then it can be moved forwards and backwards here. She's got her shifters on the end of that. And she actually has quite a wide setup with her arm cups and a fairly short setup here, but we'll ask Ellie more about that when she joins us later on. Well, Ellie's using the Bontrager Aero bottle here for hydration on the front, and she's got the Bontrager bento box for keeping stores. At the moment she's just got an inner tube in there, but we'll ask her what she's using for race day. And going back to the setup, she is using the Shimano Dura Ace Synchro Shift, which basically enables her to be able to shift more smoothly throughout the full range of gears. Well, as I said, Ellie is using the Shimano Dura Ace Synchro Shift, and then here she's got the 5339 chain rings, and she's using an 1125 cassette. You'll notice here she's got the oversized ceramic speed jockey wheels to reduce any friction. Coming back to the chain rings, she's got a 167.5mm length crank, and on the end of those she's got the Shimano Dura Ace clipless pedals. And I must admit, I'm quite surprised that I can't see a power meter or a bike computer on Ellie's bike. Right, onto the wheels, and Ellie has had a relationship with Head for a few years, and she's using the tri-spoke H3 on the front and the Head disc wheel that she used at this race last year on the back. And then on those she's using Vittoria Corsa 25C clincher tyres, and you can see she's using rim brakes, the front one nicely hidden for aerodynamic benefit between the front forks, and this rear one hidden just behind the bottom bracket. And there's also a nice little aero feature just in front of that to help with the wind flow. Well, finally, Ellie is using the ISM PN 3.0 split nose saddle, and then behind that she's got the Bontrager bottle cage to keep her extra nutrition. And just in case this bike isn't unique enough, she does have her name and the fact she's Australian proudly just here. Well, as you can see, I've now managed to find Ellie and get her to come and talk about some of the more intricate bits about your bike. But Ellie, I think we have to start with the bit that caught my eye, the paintwork here.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, well, it's a fully customized Project One. So I was lucky enough to be sent this beautiful rig from Trek, and yeah, Talbot and I put it together, the paint job, and
where did the inspiration come, like for the dots and the colorways? Did you have many options?
Not too many options. This is just one of the standard ones from Project One, and then we just picked the colors, pink being my favorite. Yeah, so of course that was the first choice, and then I had a pink and white bike, a black and pink bike previously, so we wanted to go for something a little bit different, so that's where the pink and white came in, and I love it. It's fresh and bright, and I think it fits with my personality. So.
Brilliant. And this is your first season riding Trek. How did this come about?
We've been speaking with them for a while, and unfortunately had a few problems with Blue at the end of last year, and we went separate ways earlier this year. So Trek were very quick to come on board and thankfully send a bike, and I love
Amazing.
it. So
awesome.
Yeah, very lucky.
And this is all, the cockpit's all built in, but I gather you have a choice here of your aero bars, and tell me how you've come up with the setup you've got.
Yeah, so I have quite a wide setup, mostly for injury prevention. I've suffered with a bit of a hamstring injury in the past, so we've gone for a wider elbow pads, which I like a lot, and then I've gone for some shorter nubs because I like to be kind of close and cramped with the wider elbows. It gives me a nice flat base. Yeah, so I've chosen the shorter length. Yeah.
Is that a big change from last year?
Yeah, last year I was riding very flat bars and very long bars, so I was quite extended out the front. And then once we got to the bottom of my injury, we decided that I would be better off on something like this, and turns out I like it a lot better as well. I feel more comfortable, I feel a lot stronger, yeah, and so I have a bit more leverage as well.
Great. And another thing that strikes me about this bike is how sort of clean it looks, as in the lack of things that are breaking the lines.
Yeah.
And especially down here, you've got no bottle cages on your down tube or your seat tube, and no storage area. Is that conscious, and have you chosen to keep your hydration up here for a reason?
Yeah, well, I had some bottles on the cage on my on the frame on my previous bike, and I was speaking with Mark from Trek, and he mentioned that it was faster to have nothing on the frame, a bottle at the rear and one between the arms. So I thought I'd give it a go. I only usually carry 2 bottles anyway, so I didn't normally have the rear one. So I've been training with it and getting used to pulling the bottle out, which was a little difficult at first, but now I've got the hang of it, and I really like the setup. It's clean and hopefully fast.
And what do you actually have nutrition and hydration wise?
Yeah, so I'll be using Gatorade products. So I'll put 2 gels and some electrolyte mix in the front bottle between my arms there.
Okay.
And then I'll just have water in the back.
And do you have any other gels as well, or just purely relying on that's in your front?
Yeah, so I also have 3 Gatorade gels on the bike that I'll take. I'll take 2 for sure, and then one's a spare just in case I feel like I need it coming into the transition. So.
And you're currently, I see, you've got a spare inner tube in here. Is that as it's going to be for race day?
It will be for this race, I think, because I'm waiting on the draft box to come from Trek. So I haven't quite worked out yet where I'm going to put the gels, but I think there's enough room in here for a few gels as well. Yeah.
Brilliant. And what about your wheel setup and your choice here? Is your relationship with Head new, and the choice of wheels for this race? What's your thinking?
No, so I've been with Trek for 3 years now. Great company, love the wheels. They handle really nicely. But this is the first time I'm using the tri-spoke.
Okay.
So I've heard really good things about the tri-spoke. Been watching a bit of the Giro d'Italia, and they all seem to be time trialing with the tri-spoke and the discs. So I've gone for the same combination. Tried it in training, and surprisingly the tri-spoke's really stiff and it handles really well. And I've previously ridden the disc, so I know I love that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes on Sunday. And
one other thing, I see you've obviously got ceramic speed, oversized jockey wheels. Yes. Is there anything else that you've put on or changed on this bike, like since it arrived?
I have full Dura Ace Synchro Shift on there, which is the new Dura Ace. So I really enjoy riding that.
Is that the first time you've used Synchro Shift?
I had it midway through last year, so I've had it for about a year now. I actually reprogrammed it recently. There's a lot of adjustments you can make. It's very you can personalize it a lot, which is really nice. So I didn't realize that until a few months ago. So
and you like the Synchro Shift?
I love it. Yeah. Yep.
I guess it takes the bit of the thinking out of it.
A little bit, yeah. It shifts itself when you get too high or too low in the rear cassette. So yeah, I really like that. It takes the thinking out of the race, you know.
And on race day, what tyre pressures are you going to be using?
I usually put 100 in both, unless the weather's ordinary, in which case I'll probably put 90 to 95 if there's a bit of a chance of rain or a bit of rain or wet roads.
Okay.
But typically 100.
And I think final question, you touched on a little bit at the front here with your position, making your arms wider, because it's a hamstring injury that you've had.
Yep.
Have you changed anything with your saddle height or your seat position or anything at this part of the bike?
Yes, so I've changed the saddle completely. I've always ridden ISM on my time trial bikes, but I've gone for the 3.0, which is their new saddle, so I really like that. It's a little narrower at the front end. It doesn't quite sit where I had my injury.
Okay.
I lowered my saddle height when I was coming back from the injury, just to give it more a comfort thing mostly, and to take a little pressure off the angle. But now I'm back to my standard seat height, and yeah, I think everything's
and you've left the saddle position the same, so you haven't moved it forwards or backwards or tilted that at all?
No, I've kept the position the same on the saddle. Yeah, I'm comfortable here, and I feel like this is where I need to be riding. So
great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, Ellie, it's time to have a look at your kit. Now, I know you haven't got it here, but we'll start on the outside with a swim. What do you wear wetsuit-wise?
Yeah, I wear a blue 70 wetsuit and swim skin, so depending on the temperature, obviously, I think Sunday's race will be a wetsuit.
Yeah, and underneath, this is the bit that I'm most excited about. This is beautiful. Now, talk me through your tri-suit.
Time to reveal the kit. Yeah, so I am with a company called Love the Pain for apparel, and they make my kit. They give me 3 options for every race, and this is what I've gone for Sunday's race.
I mean, that is so crazy that you get 3 options. I mean, how many viewers are going to be so jealous of that? Not 3 options a year, that's what I thought you first meant, but 3 options a race. What were your other 2 options? How did they differ?
Just different colors, different designs. So pretty much the fabrics and the cut is the same, but sometimes the legs will be a bit shorter if I've requested that, or they like to play around with some different designs or new technology as it comes out, different fabrics depending on temperature I'll be racing in, that kind of thing. So yeah, this seems to be pretty standard for my race kit design and fabric, and
have you had a favorite suit that you've raced in?
Yeah, actually 70.3 Dubai in back in January was my favorite one. It was pink with little flowers and had my Frenchie on the shoulder. It was super cute.
Oh, and you said about the length sometimes changing. When do you go for a shorter suit and when don't you?
Typically I like a shorter leg, so I prefer to go for that, but we increased the length of the sleeve and I didn't really like it too much, so we cut it back. But if it's a hotter race, I'll go for a shorter suit, shorter leg, shorter sleeve. But yeah, typically this is pretty standard for the lengths I like. So yeah.
Awesome. Right, that is very cool. Okay, sadly we're going to have to move on from the tri-suit. Let's go to the cycling phase. If you can, I'll pass you your helmet.
Okay.
Just talk me through what you're using on your head for the bike.
Yeah, so this is the new Giro Aero head MIPS. Brand new. I've actually never used this one before.
Oh, this is exciting.
Straight out of the box. So very similar to what I raced in last season. Yeah, just a little bit of new technology, shorter tail, a little bit of a wider.
It seems like the lens comes, the visor comes a long way back.
You get a bit more peripheral. Which is nice because sometimes when you're in the Aero helmet, it feels like you got blinkers on a little bit. So this will be nice.
And you use that visor, you don't wear glasses, you wear the visor.
Yeah, no, I wear the visor on the bike and glasses on the run. Yeah.
Perfect, cool. Yeah. And bike shoes?
Yeah, I'll be wearing the Giro.
So you don't use tri-shoes, you go for...
They're actually Giro's tri-shoe, but they are also a road shoe, so you can double as both. But we made a few modifications.
Oh, let's see that.
Actually, Ivan, my bike fitter, recently cut some spaces into the tongue so that I could put the laces through, because I've had a bit of trouble in the past putting my foot in and the tongue would slide down to the bottom. So I love these shoes for training, so I really wanted to be able to race in them.
Okay.
So he's made a few modifications so I can do that.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. And then finally onto the run. What do you wear on your feet?
So Mizuno's on my feet.
These are actually
new
brand
as
new.
well. Straight out of the box.
We're getting like a kind of exclusive
that's what
here.
happens when you haven't raced in so long. All the fresh stuff comes out. Yeah, so this will be the first time I'm racing in these ones.
And what is it, the Mizuno?
Mizuno Wave Sonic.
Okay.
So I used to race in the Hitagami, which are no longer, unfortunately. So these are their new race shoe. So I've trained in them a little bit while I've been here. So really like them so far. So we'll see how they go on the weekend.
Perfect. And whilst talking about feet, we have to address the socks. Now, I'm a big fan of socks, and I gather you are too. And I have spotted some very cool socks on your feet before. Sadly, I haven't got them with you today, but tell me about your choice of socks.
Yeah, so I don't have them with me, but I always wear donuts on my socks. It's kind of become a little bit of a trademark. I started wearing it when I started 70.3 a few years ago, and I don't know, ever since then, they've kind of become a part of me, and I'm now with a company called Fedomut, a Mexican-based sock company, and they make some custom ones with my name on, and so that's donuts are my thing now.
Awesome. Well, we'll keep an eye out for those throughout the season. And finally, you say obviously you run with sunglasses for the race.
Yeah. So I've got just my pink custom Oakleys for the run, so they match my kit nicely on my bike. So everything seems to be very pink.
Yeah, there's definitely a theme here.
Well, pink's my favorite, if you can't tell. So everything. A little bit of pink. It's tasteful, you know, not too much.
Yeah, very lovely. Awesome kit, thanks.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Ellie, thank you so much for that. A great insight into a beautiful looking bike.
Thank you.
Well, if you haven't yet subscribed, you can hit the globe to make sure you don't miss any of GTN's videos. And as we were talking about socks earlier, I think it's only appropriate that we throw to this video the socks versus no socks just here.
And if you'd like to see another pro bike, click this link.